Governor Beshear says Kentucky lawmakers need to provide more funding for police. The governor unveiled some priorities for next year's session during a news conference with Kentucky State Police this morning. It comes almost a month after his political rival, Daniel Cameron, also released some priorities. WYMT's Phil Pendleton has more from the state capitol.
Law enforcement issues and maybe who could be the better law enforcement governor become issues in this year's gubernatorial campaign. And today, Governor Beshear unveiled some priorities that he says lawmakers should act on during next year's session.
Improving the lives.
First up, Beshear says state police need an extra $2,500 a year raise on top of previous raises handed out. He wants hundreds of other dollars allocated for training in the form of a $4,800 stipend for training. Beshear was flanked by Trooper Billy Ball and Commissioner Colonel Philip Burnett Jr. during the news conference. Beshear says more money should be allocated for body armor. And Trooper Ball talked of how armor saved his life during the ambush last year in Floyd County.
Everyone who attempted to engage the shooter that day was either shot or killed. The shooter was never seen by many until he surrendered and he was arrested. And I encourage all police officers to wear their armor and select the type most appropriate to the threat they're facing.
Daniel Cameron's campaign issued a statement this morning following this news conference, and in it Cameron states that he is the only candidate that can reduce crime. He says he's the only one with a relationship with the legislature to do it, and he says that Andy Beshear is trying to rewrite his record. In Frankfort, Phil Pendleton, now back to you.
Phil, thank you. Governor Beshear also says he is unveiling his priorities earlier than normal because during the last budget cycle, House leaders put out their budget plan before the governor's office could highlight recommendations. Attorney General Daniel Cameron is suing 3 pharmacy benefit managers, CVS, Optum Rx, and Express Scripts, over insulin pricing. Experts in our area believe the lawsuit could lead to a positive outcome for patients. Patients with type 1 diabetes need insulin to regulate their blood sugar. Pharmacist Wes Huff at Primary Care Centers of Eastern Kentucky says the best case would be if these PBMs were overseen by officials.
So insulin's a very crucial part of healthcare, especially in this area and across the state. So when you're causing these patients to have higher copays, they're going to be more inclined to not pick up these prescriptions.
8 other state attorney generals have filed similar lawsuits in their own states. WYMT's Madison Carmouche will have more about this at 6.
Well, be sure to enjoy the quiet weather while you can this afternoon because some changes are on the way as we go into tonight. Right now, though, from London to Hazard to Pikeville, we are dry, a little bit cloudy, though, and those temperatures remain below average in the lower 80s across the mountains right now. And those dew points in the middle to lower 60s also going to be on the increase as we go into tonight. Up on the radar, we are dry, and that will continue into this afternoon as well. But notice not too far away, more showers over central and western Kentucky, and this storm system will continue pushing off to the east, and as it does that, moisture going to increase across our area. That is why we have a level 1 risk of excessive rainfall as we go into tonight, also into your Thursday, because some of the rain could be a little bit heavy in some places. Not looking at a widespread issue, but some spotty high water issues cannot be ruled out, especially in the Cumberland Valley. But if you have any plans to fire up the grill this evening, you may have to dodge a few showers, especially by 7 and 8 and beyond into tonight. Watching out for that. Those temperatures fall into the upper 70s and lower 80s, and we stay in the 70s into your Thursday, all thanks to more showers. Those details on the way in just a few minutes. Steve?
All right, Cameron, thanks. The new school year is beginning with a shortage of bus drivers across the country, including here in Eastern Kentucky. There's a school district in Indiana that is getting creative with solving the problem. Amelia Miles reports.
Walk me through how you get in and how you start everything. That would be great.
As students and teachers head back to school, you can't forget about the bus drivers.
Hazard lights are working.
School districts across the nation are reporting difficulties in recruiting and retaining bus drivers. The Southwest Allen County School District is no different.
We do need drivers.
Mike Martin is the director of transportation for the district.
We did have a couple unexpected retirements, medical leaves. I think we lost 6 over the summer. So we were already going into summer being short. We revamped the routes, and then now you're still short.
Martin tells me they have 12 full-time and part-time openings. But for them to be fully operational, Martin needs 5 more drivers.
Same thing with this.
Yeah.
Martin tells me he thinks the unknown is what is holding people back from applying.
I think when someone sees a big giant yellow bus and 50 kids in the back, it's very intimidating.
Oh boy, here we go.
I wanted to try for myself.
Choose all of your mirrors.
Judy Garcia helped me out.
I saw a big yellow bus outside that saying that we are hired. And I told my husband, what do you think? He was like, just try it. What can happen?
5 years later, she's doing what she loves, especially being able to be on the same schedule of her 3 kids.
It's like you are your own boss. You have your boss, you take care of your boss, you take care of your kids, you have a relationship with the kids, and they become like your family.
So how did I do?
You did great. Good job.
Amelia Miles, 21 Alive News.
Officials with the Kentucky Department of Education say all certified Kentucky school bus drivers must have a valid commercial driver's license with school bus endorsement and a passenger transport endorsement. School security is on a lot of minds this time of year. One school district in Oklahoma is adopting a robot, and the manufacturer hopes to deploy them to many other districts nationwide. A company called Stokes Robotics today donated several robots to help in the event of an intruder situation. The robots will not patrol the schools and will be deployed only if needed.
We could try them out here and make sure that we had a site where we could continually innovate and make sure that things are working well before we send them to other schools.
And that's in Joplin, Missouri, by the way. Here in Kentucky, the Kentucky Center for School Safety has an online resource for administrators to use as they design emergency procedures. There is not yet a category for robotics. In Ohio, supporters of abortion rights are claiming a huge victory after voters rejected a measure that would have made it harder to amend the state constitution. Republicans wanted to change the law ahead of a scheduled vote on abortion rights in November. CBS's Caitlin Huey-Burns has more.
Ohio, we did it! We did it!
In Republican-led Ohio, a resounding victory for abortion rights supporters.
The supporters of Issue 1 made the ultimate tactical error, and they have unleashed a movement that I promise you is not going away tomorrow.
Voters there rejected a Republican-backed measure that would have made it more difficult to change the state constitution to include abortion protections.
But I think this proves that when voters look at the issues and when the legislature and Republicans overstep, Ohioans will push back.
The results will keep in place a simple majority threshold needed to pass a constitutional amendment in Ohio, 50% plus 1 vote. The proposal, backed by Republican Secretary of State Frank LaRose, had aimed to raise it to 60%.
Raising that threshold to 60% to me is about a consensus.
But I think a lot of people look at this and say this is an attempt to influence the outcome of a specific ballot measure on abortion in November.
Listen, I've proposed that this be done in the past, and as I said, there's no bad time to do a good thing.
In November, Ohio will have a ballot measure to enshrine abortion protections in the state constitution, which, according to a recent poll, nearly 58% of voters there support. Meanwhile, a CBS News poll shows Democrats nationwide are more driven by the issue than Republicans. And in a sign of how Democrats hope to capitalize on that for the 2024 presidential race, President Biden took notice, saying Ohioans spoke loud and clear, and tonight, democracy won.
More than 3 million Ohioans turned out to vote in this off-year special election. That's a turnout rate of nearly 40%, underscoring the power this issue has in mobilizing voters. Caitlin Huey-Burns, CBS News, Washington.
Coming up on First at 4, Apple announces a small change to iPhones, but it could be a big change for users.
And a few showers are possible this evening, but notice by tonight, heavier showers are possible. Those details on the way.
WYMT News app offers alerts on breaking stories as they happen.